I screened so many people that just had the biggest attitudes because they were running 2 minutes late for their flight. Nobody gives a okay? Nobody gives a We all forgot. So don't try to act like it's never forget when 9/11 rolls around. Work on being unified. Work on supporting justice, equality, racial equality at that on the 365 daily base level. Don't wait for 9/11 to try to act like we so unified because we ain't. And when I see those posts, I get sick to my stomach because it's bullshit.
What up, what up, what up, what up? It's Three Brothers No Sense. I am Tavares Ferguson, a.k.a. Ferg, joined my co-host Buff and Rozzy. But more importantly, we have a special guest with us today, none other than Hooli, Melvin Johnson himself, the host of Truth Be Told Sports. Melvin, welcome to the Three Brothers. Tell them what's on your mind.
Oh, man. Yeah, as he said, I am Melvin Johnson, a.k.a. Hooli or King Hooli. Most importantly known as Ferg's big cousin with the pretty eyes.
At least he knows.
I mean that's how you a lot of people know me by. So
I almost had to go with that. They didn't believe me.
Yeah, but
he didn't relate it. Yes. Yes.
No. They believe you.
No. What's going on with you, Hooli? Tell us a little about. Tell us about your podcast, man.
Yeah, we are Truth Be Told Sports Podcast. Available on Anchor, on Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you can find a podcast. Our premise is as we talk about sports, we do it in that laid back fashion, like kind of like if you do it like at a barbershop. You go to a barbershop, and hear someone say, "Oh, you used to watch that game last night," and you talk about the game. That's kind of our premise. We appreciate all the support and everything, guys. So you guys shout us out sometimes. We shout you guys out. So, and we appreciate all the love.
It's the Black Podcasting Network. Tavares set it up.
Yo, we need to get that going for real, because Bill Simmons started the Ringer, sold it to Spotify. What was it, $250 million?
Oh yeah.
Hey, man, let's get it going, baby.
Let's do it. I'm with it. We with it.
Hooli, I got to ask you more, man. Football is back. What are your thoughts, man? I know you watched the Texans, or did you watch the Texans Chiefs game?
Of course I watched. It's football. We haven't had football in a while. It's been in doubt for since the COVID stuff. So I'm glad to see football back. I'm really happy to see it back. As far as like the play, I knew what was going to happen. Kansas City, the Chiefs, they are the returning Super Bowl champions, and Houston just ain't Houston no more. Like Deshaun Jackson lost his biggest target, and DeAndre Hopkins going over to Arizona. So, I'm thinking Houston's going to not have a good season. So we look forward to Kansas City's on Kansas City. I think they're going to be back in the Super Bowl this year. This is a bold statement for me.
Even though their fans are racist.
Oh yeah. That's a whole.
They're American, bro.
A whole booing thing. I don't.
They're American.
Yeah.
Yeah. With that though, man, I just want to say they did the moment of silence for equality after national anthem, and they still booed. So again, it wasn't about the national anthem. It never was about the national anthem. So it is what it is, man.
You guys started that podcast, I want to say, almost at the peak of when the coronavirus started. Mm-hmm. And then at one point, there were no sports at all.
Right.
And I just admired how you guys were still able to keep going and have content, interesting content at that. Was there ever any talk of let's just shut it down until sports come back, or did you guys want to accept that challenge and just keep going?
No, there was never no talk about that. As you saw how the impact of coronavirus, what they did on sports. And there was so much content in itself right there, you know what I mean? So we was gonna talk about anything. The thing that saved us the most was the Bulls thing, The Last Dance, dude. That was 5 weeks of content right there in itself. and it came it was weird because right around like the third episode, we were like, man, we can't keep talking about this. You know what I'm saying? So let's go find some other stuff to talk about.
They got better and better.
Started talking about the baseball that was playing over in South Korea. We just went and found a lot of stuff to talk about. You know what I mean? We talked about our top 5, which got a lot of traffic from the group, Truth Be Told Sports group, and on Facebook. You can look up at the Truth Be Told Sports podcast page, trying to get some traffic headed that way. So feel free to interact on that side too. But we talked about the top 5, anything that doesn't generate any type of conversation, you know.
Yeah, and sports and music are good to do that. And like anytime you say name top 5 is an argument is gonna break out. Like, is you crazy? How can you rank? You know, so it's always gonna break out.
Yeah, exactly. The LeBron Jordan thing, of course.
That's especially that's during
the fights in about 5 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially during the Bulls. Jordan documentary. You know, because it definitely was a Jordan documentary. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is. But that's all it was. And you had the LeBron haters come out like, I still think, you know, regardless if you think Jordan's better, LeBron's better, like the fact that people can like go at LeBron for calling him trash and stuff, like, dude, that takes a lot of hate to just not admire that dude's talent, you know.
Right.
But,
exactly.
Buff, what's going on in your world, man?
Well, last week I watched the Breonna Taylor documentary that's airing on Hulu, and you know, first off, I think we just got news that it's going to the grand jury on whether or not to indict the officers or not. But the documentary is just frustrating, man. Just hearing the excuses on why. People were saying you can't charge the officers. Like one guy was like, well, we don't know whose bullets it was that killed her. I'm like, word? Because if me, Ferg, Rozzy, and Hooli go rob a bank, Hooli can get out the car and do the robbing. We can literally stay in the car and never go in. Guess what? All 4 is going to still get charged. So I don't see what the difficulty is, and like
we don't even have to know that he's robbing a bank.
You know what I'm saying?
To be honest,
so like it doesn't matter who.
Did he just come back with a bag of money?
Yeah, like we know 3 officers fired shots. It doesn't matter who hit her. Like they all fired shots. And listen, I don't know every police department's general orders and standard operating procedures, but I know. I'm gonna just put it like this: where I'm from, you got to know where your target is and what's behind that target. Yep. And they threw rounds into other people's apartments, could have hit innocent people. You can't just shoot up places like that, dog.
They did.
So that's what was on my mind, man. I checked that.
You're saying they can't, but like first they did.
Yeah, they did. True.
That's why we had the case. They literally busted an wrong apartment, and killed an innocent person.
Yeah. So
wrong in all aspects.
And it's just it's been disgusting too, because they were looking for her ex-boyfriend who they have locked up now. They literally tried to get him to lie and say that she was in on selling drugs and things like that. So it's just disgusting, man.
My hat's off to him for standing his ground on that, though.
Definitely, yeah.
Because I'm sure they were cutting him a really good deal.
Oh, yeah, they definitely cut him a deal.
Lie.
Oh yeah,
definitely cut him a deal or tried. What's up with you, Ra?
Just kind of piggybacking off of that though, is I saw that Virginia passed, they're overturning qualified immunity for police officers. So that's pretty cool that, states are starting to really take a look at that. And I get it. There needs to be a certain level of immunity. Your job is stressful, all of that. So you got to give them a little bit of leeway, but to have like unlimited qualified immunity where, hey, you just don't question it. That's not right. And so I'm glad that, that they overturned that and they're taking a second look at that. Saw a bunch of police forces rolling out what they call like community, like task forces, where they put a police officer and like a mental health professional in a car together. And so they're the group that responds to any like mental health calls. And so you have a mental health professional on site at those calls automatically. Dope. So that's pretty cool. So things like that, guys, is what we're talking about. When we talk about defund the police, it's not that we don't want police. It's not that we don't want people to be able to come out and keep us safe. What we want is the right people to come at the right times that are trained to do the things that we really need them to do. We want to feel safe in all these different disparate situations.
And just to real quick, I think it was his name is Daniel Prude up there in New York State. What Razi was talking about, that definitely could have been utilized. Like, I don't know if that was necessarily a police problem where the guy's brother was running around on the street naked, okay, and the police came and they wound up putting a bag over his head and shoving his ground to the pavement until he suffocated and died 7 days later. So that may not have been a police matter. That may have just been people that specialize in mental illness type. You know, they can be on standby maybe, but, you know, police just aren't equipped to handle all these different problems.
Right. And I like how they're marrying and putting an officer there for security. Because, you know, with first responders, that's one of the first things they taught us in when we were going through EMT screen is the scene safe. So now I have a police officer there to make sure the scene's safe, but I can talk to that police officer. We're partners. So I can be like, yo, the dude's crazy. Don't choke him. Like, you know what I mean? So y'all can play off of each other and really make sure that the scene's safe. And at the same time, we're giving the person the care that they need.
Yeah.
But that opens up a whole nother can of worms. Cause with my fear of how people view, especially us in general, you know, we just have to assume that mental health provider has our best interest at heart too. Because if they're Blue Lives Matter fan and they're justifying why this person was extra combative and couldn't be handled in a rational manner, now the cop has a scapegoat. But that's a whole nother can of worms. So what I'm going to talk about is I got a lot of backlash on my comment last week. I guess people got a little offended because I called them nasty for not using a bidet. Who would have thunk it? So, you know, I'm like, I should go on and apologize. But you're like, you know what? I'm not. It is politics season. We are getting into the voting season. We got about, less than 2 months left. And so with the nation being so divided and people being so divided on subjects like bidets versus being nasty, I'm going to come up with a little segment for the next few weeks called The Great Divide. So my segment right now is going to talk about things that Ferg thinks that everybody should know. And if you don't agree with me, you have a problem. So,
okay.
I feel like you guys agree with me on most of it. Let me see which one I want to talk about today. It's not even that deep. Yeah. Like, I can't, and I'm going to keep it simple today. I can't respect people that like cold ketchup. We can all agree that, right? Cold ketchup is not ketchup's not supposed to be cold.
You shouldn't be using ketchup anymore anyway. Yeah, like once you're over 10, why are you still using ketchup?
I mean, if I get a hot dog, I want some ketchup on my hot dog. Like,
you know what? Touche. I take that back.
There's certain times that I need some ketchup.
Yeah. Ketchup on your French fries, Byron? No,
I don't need it on my fries. So I don't. If they're good French fries, I don't need ketchup.
Yeah. I don't really use them on that.
But he hit it with the hot dog though.
Yeah, but
cold ketchup is for the
you understand that the ketchup bottle says refrigerate after open on it. I'm just going to put that out there. I'm just going to throw that out there.
And they were wrong. They're wrong. So think about it. When's the last time you went to McDonald's or any place and they gave you cold ketchup?
Because it's unopened.
Do they serve it cold?
It's unopened. Yeah, it's
do they serve it cold? Yes or no?
No, because it's unopened.
Do they? So no. Thank you. Moving on.
What did you say, Razi? Once open. You need to refrigerate.
Once open,
but now they have preservatives that keep it.
So that's your first one. Ferg eats spoiled ketchup. What's next?
No. I mean, it's not spoiled ketchup. Okay. With the vinegar and the acidity in the tomatoes, it does not spoil that way. Have you seen spoiled ketchup?
Well, I hadn't been to your house yet, sir.
Have any of y'all ever seen spoiled ketchup?
Note to self: don't eat Ferg's ketchup.
Have any of y'all ever seen spoiled ketchup?
No, because we keep ours in the refrigerator.
No, because you guys are Neanderthals.
Okay. What else you got, bro? What else you got?
Need to wait. No, I'm only doing.
That's his for today. That's his for today.
I'm just doing one.
Okay.
But no, you know what? Since we're on the topic of ketchup, I'll stick on the ketchup theme. I realized I was eating ketchup wrong. Where I always dip my fries. You're supposed to put them on the fries.
No, you're not.
It's completely different. Upgrade it, fellas. I'm telling you, it tastes different.
No.
It tastes different.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's so bad.
It tastes different. I'm
Dear
telling you.
FBI.
Your fries are gonna get soggy.
Oh,
Because now they're
man.
drenched
Are you
in
kidding me,
ketchup.
bro?
How long are you sitting with your fries, Razzie?
And it's just dirty. Like
No,
you're
it's
gonna have
not.
ketchup all on your hands. Now you gotta use a fork. You're gonna use a fork to eat your fries first.
It's definitely dip, man. It's dip, bro.
No, I'm telling you, guys. I was converted about a month and a half ago. I'm telling you,
All right.
upgrade yourself.
No,
Like I didn't use bidets until the last few years. When you know better, you do better. Try the ketchup on your fries. That's all I got to say. That's all I got to say. Until then, we'll just be divided on these conversations. And you guys, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying you could be, if you wanted to be right, you would change your ways.
Understood.
Yeah, we can agree to, disagree on that. But I'm surprised that I got all this backlash on you guys, like cold ketchup. Like that was a deal breaker.
Well,
like, that was a deal breaker.
It's not that much. Like we barely eat ketchup, really. So
Yeah, but it's
not that much.
Yeah, a deal breaker. So
and if I put it on a hot dog, is that how you say it? Like a hot dog, it's gonna warm the ketchup up anyway.
You got nothing for it? You got nothing?
no, I'm breathing heavy and trying not to go off. That's what it is. But you know what? I'm done about this. Let's so we can keep our show and still be friends after this. Let's go ahead and just pay some bills.
Lowe's knows that free is just better. That's why MyLowe's Rewards is free to join. As a member, you earn points towards MyLowe's money on eligible purchases, get exclusive free gifts, and earn free shipping at Silver Key status, all on top of weekly member-only deals. Don't wait. Join MyLowe's Rewards for free today and start saving more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Loyalty program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
And we're back. Three brothers, no sense. We are still friends, I guess. And to make matters, no, I'm not even going to say that. Here's Rozzy with the joke.
Oh, thanks, Ferg. You didn't kind of set me up.
Yeah,
I didn't roll it out.
Yeah.
So Sophie's not here. And so I'll just throw it out there. So somebody asked me to name 2 structures that hold water. So I was just like, well, damn.
I think that might have
Hula gets it. Hula
I
gets
get it.
I get it. But I do think some listeners, it's going to take them a few seconds. Like, okay, so what are the 2 structures? Hey, bro, well done, man. Sophie is a tough act to follow, so well done.
Thanks.
Well, we're going to kick it off. Huli, because he's my big cousin, always gets his way. So I have to yield my question and give it to him. So, Huli, do you have a good question for us today, sir?
I don't know if it's really good, but I can't match you guys. You guys are a really, really good show, man, and I really appreciate you guys for having me on. You guys are younger than me, but I do look up to you guys. So I'm trying to think of a question to ask what is going to be. Unfortunately, it's going to be a sports slate. I can't get as deep as you guys. Let's see. My question would be, your favorite sports team. Why is that your favorite sports team?
Oh, man.
Any sport or
any sport? Like I'm a diehard Yankees fan. I've been a Yankees fan since I've been a kid. I learned to play baseball like watching the Yankees play. So, and I live with my uncle kept the game on. So like I always watch the Yankees.
Well, due to the riffraff that surrounded Colin Kaepernick. I kind of fell off on NFL, but it was the Indianapolis Colts because of the whole first black head coach winning the Super Bowl, and even before that, just them hiring him. You know, still to this day, black head coaches in the NFL are like borderline rare. So I like the franchise for doing that, but I don't really have a team in the NFL anymore. I just kind of started back watching last year. Basketball, Miami Heat. I was a Dwayne Wade fan. I rooted for him because because I'm short, I rooted for relatively short. Like, don't get me wrong, in real life, Dwayne Wade tall as hell. You know what I'm saying? But by NBA standards, he's relatively short. So I rooted for like Kevin Johnson was like the first player I liked, and then Allen Iverson, and then Dwayne Wade. And because he was in that draft with Carmelo and LeBron, to me, he was kind of like the underdog. And if you remember, he was the only one that took his team to the playoffs that rookie year. So,
yeah. Well, the Nuggets did too.
Did they go that first year? They did? Okay. All right. So, and just visiting Miami, I started loving the city. And so it's just like, well, one of my favorite players already plays for that team. I already love the city. I love visiting. And it just kind of stuck. So diehard, like I always say, I'm not an NBA fan. I'm a Miami Heat fan. If the Heat aren't on, I'm probably not even watching unless the Heat are playing. And then Florida State college football, I was a huge Deion Sanders fan. I literally wanted to be him when I played football. So just stuck with them on that. Baseball, I don't really watch as much, but I'm in the DC area, so I root for the Nats. Don't watch hockey, but if I did, it would be the Caps. And I think that's it for teams for me.
For me, it's tough. I kind of follow Byron's lead on I haven't watched the NFL in the last few seasons. I'm debating, and I'm more likely to watch it this year just to kind of see what the NFL is truly doing. And they're making as of now, they're making some strides to do better. And right now, we need and being in this pandemic, we need all the good stuff we can see. So, if sports gives me a release to take my mind off of everyday struggles, and maybe I'll start watching again. But so for anybody that knows me, I've always been a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. For the first time in my life, I don't know anymore. Like, it's almost like I got to kind of see what happens. Maybe we're if me and the Cowboys were dating, our situation on Facebook would be it's complicated right now. Like, it's not you, it's me. We're kind of dating. We need to possibly date some other teams to see if this is really what we want. Because right now, Jerry Jones and his white patriarchal mindset has completely turned me off of the Cowboys. I've already had a struggle with him over the last few seasons because, he wants things his way, and he's run off some great coaches. But I've been a Cowboys fan because originally I grew up in Dallas, and we could go to Cowboys games for little to nothing. This was the mid to late 80s when they still sucked. And so I've always been a Cowboys fan. Little known fact, Hula used to be a Cowboys fan with me. So don't let him fool you. Think he's always been a Giants fan. He used to be a Cowboys fan with me.
Then I wisened up.
We used to play primetime football.
Yes, we did.
One of the best underrated, but best football games ever. And when we thought we were going to be a lot taller and bigger and faster, we thought we were going to play for the Cowboys. That was our combined dream.
That NBA, dream stopped around the 9th grade?
Yeah, about 9th grade, 9th, 10th grade. Yeah, bro. But what happened with basketball, like, I've never been a particular fan of a team. I've had I went to the Lakers when they were the Showtime Lakers. I was a Bulls fan, and then I kind of fell off and then went back to the Lakers because of Kobe. And then eventually I became a LeBron fan. And so I don't have a diehard basketball team. As far as a team today, I guess I would have to be a Rockets fan if I'm not following LeBron, just because I'm in Houston and I like the Rockets and I like the way they play during the regular season. Basketball, Astros, once again, because I'm in Houston and I like the way they play. Hey, man, it's better cheat than a repeat. Them boys, they got a ring out of it. And college football, I'm an Auburn fan, and part of it was because I like to go against the grain. And when I moved back to, I used to be a UT fan, Texas fan, Longhorns. But when I moved to Alabama and got caught up in all the Alabama-Auburn rivalry, I used to get so annoyed with all that Roll Tide shit. And so I wanted to shut them up and have something to say about it and go against the grain, and ended up a War Damn Eagle. So War Damn Eagle, just by the way, just in case you guys didn't know. So
a War Eagle.
War Eagle.
Oh God. So I really don't care one way or the other with either one of them. I have a love-hate relationship with the University of Alabama Board of Trustees anyway, because they screwed UAB and cut our football team. So yeah, I might. But with all that money I just gave them for that scholarship, it is Roll Tide all the way, baby. But for me, talking about being a contrarian and trying to go against the grain, I grew up with so many Yankees fans that I became a Red Sox fan mainly because of that. So the Red Sox is my team in baseball. Football wise, it's Green Bay, baby. Go Pack. And it's weird because growing up in Mobile, everybody's like, how'd you become a Packers fan? I don't
no way. Like, it's just,
I don't know, man. It was just like, I saw Brett Favre play and I was like, oh my God, he's awesome. And so, you know how you talk about, like, I'm a LeBron fan? Like, I was a Favre fan. I really wasn't a Green Bay fan. And then I just like grew to love Green Bay because of that. And then Aaron Rodgers came in and he did a great job with that team taking the helm. So, I'm good with that. So that's my NFL team. NBA wise, I just don't care. I guess that's the best way to put it. It's like, if a good game's on, like I don't watch the NBA until the finals. That's really the only time I watch the NBA. So, and whoever's there, I pick somebody. Say what?
I don't think I've ever heard you talk about an NBA game.
Nah. Yeah, I just don't care. Now, I will tell you though, there's this anime called Haikyuu. So the Kurosawa High volleyball team, they're beasts. I just want to throw that out there.
I did see that coming. I apologize, Melvin. Did not see that coming.
There's a whole subgenre of like athletic anime out there. So like,
who's your favorite anime sports team, bro?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Because I haven't gotten into esports enough to know, but I might start. I could probably call Ali in here and he'd be able to tell y'all because he watches. He's into it, man.
What was the name of this damn show again?
Haikyuu. Haikyuu. Let me make sure. Yeah, Haikyuu. It's a volleyball anime.
Yeah,
but it goes on. They got a basketball one that's like Super Fire too.
And what is that? I mean, you might as well tell us the name if you're gonna bring it up.
Oh, I don't know the name of it. That's why I didn't say it. Let me see.
It doesn't matter.
Being a contrarian is part of the reason I'm with Florida State too. I just got tired of the back and forth between Alabama and Auburn. I'm like, you know what? Neither. Pick somebody out the state.
That makes sense too.
Yeah. So you just skipped. I guess was Florida State. I guess that was the next closest team.
Was it? No, it probably would have been like maybe one of the Mississippi teams.
Yeah.
We don't count Mississippi football. Growing up in Alabama, Mississippi football is not a thing.
And like moving here, I'm able to catch all their games because we're in ACC territory versus down in Mobile. I rarely got to see them. Yeah.
Clemson land.
Clemson, we got Virginia, and it used to be Maryland. Maryland.
Let's stop it there. Let's be real.
So Huli got to tell us about his teams.
Can we guess?
Well, we know his baseball team.
Okay, Yankees fan.
Yankees. The Giants. I don't know why.
Duke, yes sir. Duke, for sure. Oh,
who's his hockey team?
My hockey. Oh, I'm a Rangers fan.
You're Rangers? Oh, I thought you were Red Wings.
Oh hell no! I'm a Rangers fan, but I like the Capitals too because Ovechkin is my favorite hockey player of all time. It's the best to ever do it.
Now, why Duke? Because Duke gets a lot of hate. So why Duke?
Duke was one of those teams that everybody hated, just like that everybody hated. So I was just like you guys. I decided to buck the system a little bit, and ride with Duke. But I did
it's crazy we all skipped over. It's crazy we all skipped over college basketball.
Yeah, I don't really like college basketball.
Yeah,
I always go for the Cinderella team.
Yeah, go Blazers. Cinderella all the way.
Yeah, and we know War Eagles football, right? We still got that, right?
Yeah, we still got that.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you sold me out on the Cowboys, and so I know we still had that.
I woke up.
Yeah, in basketball, we jumped around. At one point, we were the Penny Shack show.
Oh, we were. Like I like players growing up, man. Like Michael Jordan was my favorite player of all time. Once he left the Bulls, I was like,
think that's what it was about basketball.
It's like when I lived in Miami. This is like Byron says, like the culture, you know what I'm saying, and the love for the team. I fell in love with that team, and Dwayne Wade, huge reason because I watched that guy come out of Marquette.
Mm.
Yeah. So
I think basketball is easy to fall in love with players
because they move around so much.
Yeah, it changes so much, and
there's only a few of them on the court. So
and they marketed it that way too. Like the NFL is all about team. Like don't even take your helmet off during the game, and
right.
There's no individuality. But basketball, it's about their superstars.
But I'm noticing that though. I feel like more people are adamant about their football teams than they are about basketball. Yeah. You have to be a diehard fan, I think, to really appreciate basketball, or unless you're from that city. Like if you're in Houston, you're just default Rockets fan. But for the rest of the world growing up outside of a major city where they have a team, you don't have a chance to pick. I think people like, the Lakers for me, Magic Johnson, Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. That's the reason I like teams. And then if any one of them wasn't in it, I would like, who else do I like? I like Harden, I like the way he plays ball. So that was a good one, man. Made me think. I had to go back to my childhood and realize that you sold me out. You left me on the doorstep. So, but if anybody has any ideas of new football teams that I should try out, I'm open. I'm a single. Is there a dating app for football teams that I don't know.
Bumble for teams.
I will say you got a good team right there in your city, man. Like Deshaun Watson is a good dude. That's a good dude, man.
And a great player. What's kind of crazy, and now that I say this, I kind of see why the owners wanted to keep politics out of it, because now I have a hard time pulling for a team because of their political stance. Like, yeah, and that's like sacrilege going from Dallas to Houston or vice versa. But yeah, it'd be easy to be a Texans fan in Houston, but their owner, kind of just, he said some shit too that kind of like, you know what, inmates run the yard. Like, really, call it say what you want. Be real with it. So now I'm like, okay, what's the political stance of this team? Okay, then who are their players? Like that's where I'm at now. So that's what's so tough. So, and watch this year just because this will be the year. I know I always say this. This will be the year the Cowboys go big, just because like if I'm like, I'm not a Cowboys fan right now, and then all of a sudden it's like, God, these dudes are in the Super Bowl. Just because. Yeah. But who's up next? People.
They're not going to the Super Bowl. Let's be honest.
Green Bay's not going to have a winning season, so let's not. let's just stop there. Okay. Who's up next? Rozzy, Buff, got a question for us?
I do, but I'm willing to defer to Brother Rozzy if he'd like to go.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and go. So my last ALI session was this past week, and so Wednesday and Thursday of the week we did it virtual. So just a bunch of Skype meetings and Zoom meetings, those types of things. And one of the sessions we brought in the head of the Alabama Charter Commission, like the people who sign off on charter schools in Alabama, and they were kind of explaining charter schools to us. And so what I wanted to get is you guys take on charter schools, and would you pull your child from public school to put them in a charter school if you had the opportunity?
What are the advantages of the charter schools?
So the big thing about charter schools is that they don't fall under the state board of education. They have to meet the minimum qualifications of the federal guidelines and the state guidelines, but they have it's like a private school that they can structure their education very differently. They don't have to follow the rote school boards, what they say you have to do throughout your day, how your day is structured and all that stuff. Whereas charters can kind of be private schools with public money. That's probably the best way to put it.
Because I've heard so many good and bad things, like people for and against charter schools. I'll just say, until I hear probably Ferg's answer and Hooley's and get more information on it. But if you're in a school district or a county like up here, and this just isn't me saying it, this is coming from me working with people whose kids are in Prince George's County public schools over in Maryland, like most of the people hate that school system, and they either have their kids in private school or a charter school. So if you're in a district like that, then yes, you should most definitely consider it. But if you're in an area like we've been pleasantly pleased with Prince William County public schools up here, so we're happy with it. And if we had the option to go charter, I don't think we would go that route unless we just had we heard some outstanding benefits from it. So it just depends on where you are. But it sounds like something that you should give consideration to if you're in Prince George's or like some areas in Washington, D.C. I know charter schools are big in that city as well. If you're in a bad school system, you need to do it because it's important, man. Like what your kids learn now, it's definitely shaping and molding them into the type of adults that they're going to be later on in life.
That's big facts, dude. My opinion, whatever's beneficial to my child, if my child gets a better education coming from that charter school, then by all means, we're going to send them to that charter school. Out here in LA, I really don't know the school district because, like, my kids are just, babies right now. But I can't wait to like dive into that and look into what's going to be more beneficial for them growing up out here. Because you hear the good and you hear the bad. I just want to be able to dive into it and find the truth myself.
Yep.
I mean, I guess I'm going to go the easy way out. I feel like all charter schools aren't created equal, as well as all public schools aren't created equal. And so I think it all depends on the situation of your environment. Like we're in Cy-Fair, which has a pretty good school system. So I don't even know if any charter schools around us just because of that. Usually I think our area can afford top-notch schooling. But what I always have to think is don't look at myself, think of what the masses have to deal with. What does a school system look like in, let's say, Mobile? We're all from Mobile. So take random middle school in Mobile versus a charter school. How many, growing up, how many good schools were there really? How many good middle schools were there in Mobile?
Other than the magnets.
Yeah. all schools weren't bad, but I wouldn't call them good. Like it was just like, hey, this is not a bad school comparatively speaking. In a situation like that, maybe charter is the way to go. But then my question is, what does it do to the surrounding public schools? So are you robbing Peter to pay Paul? I'm not quite sure. I still haven't figured out how the charter school funding happens. So now, because I know they get funding based off enrollment, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So when we pull kids they pulled all four of us out of, let's say we all went to Booker T and we went to charter school X. That's less money for Booker T, which is already a struggling school, to go to a charter school that might be better. And it's just like, that's my question, is like, you're doing better at the expense of who? Because I think that's what it comes down to. Like, yeah, your kid might get a little better education, but it's taking away from the resources in that area. So I don't know if it's regional where they're pulling the money from, but it's the same thing that happens when, we leave the neighborhood and go to
Hoover. Yeah.
Hoover. But the thing about it is, there's money allocated for Hoover because of the residents of Hoover.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they're taking. So imagine they took money from the Hoover school system to put into a charter school. That's right. You're like, well, I moved out here to make sure my kids get the best education. Now you're taking away from. Now it's almost like, well, these little nigglets over here that don't have the money, we can pull their money, and it's fine. So I don't. That's my thing. Is like, I want.
So that's exactly
your dilemma.
The good and bad. Like, people talk about the good and bad of it all, but the flight that we're able to do, right, is we're able to pack up, move to the more affluent area, and put our kids in a good school.
Yeah, because
we have the means to be able to do that. Whereas a lot of people in those poor communities that are in those failing schools can't.
Mm-hmm.
They can't pick up and move to Hoover and say, yep, I'm in Hoover now, so my kids are going to go to the good school. So what the charter school would do is, yes, it's going to pull from that public school to put them in the charter school, but eventually that entire school may get shut down and all those kids may end up at the charter school as that charter school expands and increases capacity. So now all of those kids have access to that school with the better system.
Have they done any studies tracking charter school, like kids that transition from charter school in their path versus their counterparts who stayed at these schools? Because that's what I want to. That's what I would like to see at the end of the day.
Like you said, every charter school is not created equal. Charter schools open up and then shut down in 4 or 5 years. Like, one of the things that they were telling us in the session was Alabama has a rule that if the school doesn't meet certain gates in the first 5 years, the school has to shut down. Like, Alabama's one of the only school or the only states that has that law where they're not going to let that school continue to suck money out of the public well and not do better for the kids. So
what causes a charter school? So we're all in Tolmanville. We all go to Booker T. Sorry if I feel like I'm picking on anybody from Booker T. I'm just saying it because that was around the corner from me. Why would they create another charter school near that area? Like, what causes them to say, okay, is there a certain threshold that Booker T didn't meet that causes them open a charter school?
No, because it's a charter school is a private entity. It's a private company that comes in and says, we're going to create a school. Same way a private school. The only thing is that it's funded by public funds instead of by private funds. So you don't have to pay tuition. So it's a private company that says, I'm going to, like a nonprofit, I set up a nonprofit, I'm going to build a school here, and now I can collect public funds for it for every head, the same way that public school can. Every head count I get in this school, I'm going to get public funds for it. And then you just go. Like I said, the big difference is that they're able to structure their school very differently because they are a private company instead of being under the Board of Education. And so, but they still have to meet the same gates and, education gates and test scores and all of that. But one of the, so they had 3 school leaders is what they call them on the session with us. And one of the things that they were saying is that they fill niches. So like one of the charter schools was all about children with disabilities. Like that was their focus. So they could bring anybody in, but children with learning disabilities and things like that, they wanted to bring in. One of the charter schools was minority focused. They were like, we are trying to make a minority school. The other one was in Livingston, Alabama. And literally they were talking about how Livingston still has a segregated school system. And so they have basically a private school that all the white kids go to and all the black kids go to the public school. So they wanted diversity. So their charter school literally said, we're setting this up to increase diversity. And they were able to do and basically mix and integrate Livingston's education system based on creating that charter school. So it's whatever is needed in the area is what the charter school and what that leader should be doing is figuring out what the community needs, what's lacking in the public school, and creating a charter school for that. And what they're saying, one of them was like, she has a really good relationship with the local school there. And she has actually had people come to her school and was like, hey, your child's going to need a certain program that our school doesn't have. So you would be better going to the public school. And she's really told people that because she's like, I'm not going to be able to give you what you need for your child. So go there. And then her program, she has a couple of programs that are really, really good. And so like she actually, the principal at the quote unquote regular school actually refers kids over to her school that should be going through that program. So it's they can both coexist, but they have to be ready and willing to be able to say what's best for the children in the area. And are you filling a true niche?
Okay. Well, I want to learn more about that. Maybe we can get some educators on to talk more about it, because I think that's been a hot topic I've seen people talk about lately, is charter schools and stuff like that. So very interesting. I think we look like we're doing good on time, right, Razi?
Yeah, we should be. Yep.
Buff, you want to sneak in a question?
Yeah, I can. I'll bring it back to sports a little bit, like the premise starts with sports. But as we know, or maybe you don't know, Skip Bayless last week said some things about Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. And essentially, Dak's brother, I think, was killed or committed suicide earlier this year. And he said, he had moments of depression to where he didn't want to even work out or anything like that. And Skip, and look, it's easy to dump on Skip right now. I mean, the easiest thing to say is he's an idiot and he shouldn't have said that. Yes, that's all true. But Skip has always been an outside of the box kind of provocative thinker. Like the things he said about LeBron James and stuff like that has gotten him the big contracts that he's gotten with ESPN and now with Fox Sports. But by him saying that he has no sympathy for Dak Prescott coming out and publicly saying that he was depressed, he has no sympathy for that. And he went on to say that he has no sympathy because he's the leader of a football team and you can't show that type of weakness, especially in that sport. So my question to you guys is, we always talk about how we've all had individually tough years and just dealing with everything beyond just our personal loss. It's been a tough year for everybody with just adjusting to COVID. And it is very easy. If there's no other year, this year is the easiest year to get depressed about something. So I just wanted to get you guys' take on what Skip Bayless said. Like, does a part of you at all understand what he was trying to say, or is he a complete clown for saying, because what he said is dangerous, because he's continuing the narrative of that if you're depressed, you're weak. And that's something we push back against. But just like last week's show when Razio was like, you know, he would tell Haley, you know, you probably shouldn't wear that, not because he wants to control what she wears, but the reality is that people will look at that as inviting. And the reality is, as much as we push back on the fact that depression is not weak, there is a large segment that still believes that. So do you understand what Skip was trying to say, or was it just completely reckless and just clownish of him to even go that way?
I'll start as a Cowboys fan, or former Cowboy. I don't know what the hell I stand. That was a dumb statement. Just dumb. There might be some truth to like how he felt about it, and not even in a malevolent way. It's like, no, you can't let him see weakness. I get it. Maybe if that's what he was trying to say, maybe, but some shit just doesn't have to be said. It's not your place to say it. Like, you don't have to say that. Like, man, it could be like, man, I wish he would have said that because now people can see him as weak. I get it, but, you know, in football, you're the leader of the team. People need to see you firing on all cylinders. As a contract year, I want you there for the long haul. I don't want anybody to have any negative thought process fuel for their fire to use against you. If that's your thought process, say it and be adamant about that. But to say, I don't have sympathy or you don't have sympathy, dog, get the hell out of here, man. Like, people are real. We're talking about, this is a young man who's been a pretty upstanding young man so far, for what we can see, lost a sibling at a very young age. Dude, get the hell out of here with that, man. Nobody wants to hear that. And I'm done. I mean, I'm usually pro Skip. I think he has a lot of good stuff to say, and he usually, but nah.
Well said, bro. Yeah.
Wow. So I'll jump in. I see where he was coming from. It was communicated very poorly. You know, I talk about the military taught me how to compartmentalize, right? It's get the mission done, and then grieve later. And I think that's what he was trying to communicate, is that you got to get the mission done. And if there's times that you need to take that break, in my opinion, and this is coming from all the Army training I've had on that, is you need to communicate that, and you need to make sure the team understands that. And because I feel like that's leadership too. Leadership isn't bottling up those emotions and pushing through and muscling through. So there's a difference of him saying there are days that I just don't want to work out, but he still goes. And so I think those are those days that he has to tell the team, like, guys, I'm really having a hard time today. So I may not hit it as hard, but I'm here and I'm trying. I think that is also leadership. And if it's a team there, that team probably is going to step up. I would hope that team would step up and be like, bro, go sit down, go see somebody. We got you. Take the day off if you need to, you know, and the team can rally around him. So while Skip was just very clownish with what he said, and maybe was just trying to be provocative, you know, we say stuff here that we, without the context or what we're trying to say, it just doesn't come off right. And so I got to give him a little bit of leeway on that, but he is a professional. He knows what he's doing. And I think he was trying to get the sound bite, and then he got some blowback from it because of how it came off. But I see where he's coming from, and I hope, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, because I have seen him show the you know, that he cares or that he actually thinks through those things for people. So I'm going to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, but I think I know where he's coming from.
Good point, because that's similar to when I was calling people nasty about the bidet. So it wasn't that I was trying to, but I came from a good place. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I get it.
So okay.
To answer your question, Buff, I would have to kind of agree with Rozzy a little bit. Very bad comment, communicated completely wrong. He probably was trying to, motivate Skip Bayless, and it's weird that I'm on the side of Dak Prescott because I've said on my show several times that he's overrated. But depression is a real thing, and the four of us have had really tough 2020s, and it would have been easy for any of us to slip into a depression. And if it weren't for you guys kind of kept me out of it. So I appreciate you guys and the phone calls and the checks and you checking up on me and everything. And I love y'all, man. Thank you.
Definitely,
appreciate it, bro.
Definitely.
Same here.
What Ferg pretty much said everything I would have wanted to say, especially when you suggested how he could have worded. I'll just add these few statements. First, again, I hate piling on almost anybody. So I'll just say, when you talk for a living, and that's what Skip Bayless does, and these daily commentators, when you talk for a living, at some point, you are going to have that, like Rozzy said, that soundbite that you either regret or are going to have to apologize for. It's bound to happen if you talk. I think what the show is like 3 hours a day or something like that. Mm-hmm. Talking for 3 hours a day, you're going to say some messed up stuff from time to time. So, I mean, that's probably hard for people to understand, but just think about some of your text conversations, your phone calls. When you get together with your friends, you said some stuff.
How many times Rozzy's had to apologize on this show?
There you go.
We do it once a week for an hour.
So there it is.
Yeah.
So there's that. But here's the thing. And when we were talking about our favorite teams, what I didn't bring up is that I'm a huge boxing fan. I love that sport over any other sport. And Tyson Fury, heavyweight champion now, he blew up to like over 400 pounds, wound up losing the weight. He fell into depression. He was doing drugs, battling alcohol. He decided to get back in the ring, came back from depression, and beat, I would probably say, my current favorite fighter right now, Deontay Wilder, for the belt. And he came back from it, and he constantly speaks on how people can come back from it and the things you can do. So that's the type of thing that Skip needs to keep in mind, that depression is not a weakness. And if anything, it's something that you can overcome. And if anything, Dak should be applauded for coming out of that depression and being ready for this season and stuff like that. So you got to remember those type of examples. Like, if that's the point he wanted to make, then you also got to give how it's an obstacle that you can overcome. And just particularly with the NFL, man, like, the whole reason the whole CTE conversation was coming up so much is because of former players committing suicide, Junior Seau and things like that. That comes from depression, man. And like, they literally would not shoot themselves in the head so that their brains could be examined. It's a serious topic. So for him to like cast it away and say he feels no sympathy, going back to what Ferg said, there's a better way he could have framed it if he wanted to try and make that point. And just my final point, I always come back to this because I do like Skip Bayless, because sometimes he does make that great, outside the box point. Every once in a while, he makes that great point and he can be entertaining. But I've always called him a hypocrite because he made a living off calling LeBron James. I think he's called him Queen James. He's called Chris Bosh. He related him to one of the Spice Girls at one time. Like, really questioning these guys' manhood and like going beyond the on the court, on the field critique, like personally criticizing them. But when Jalen Rose got in that, they had to have a 2-hour one-on-one apology because Skip Bayless' feelings was hurt. When he speculated that Kevin Durant was going to go to the Lakers, and Kevin Durant said he doesn't know what the bleep he's talking about, He spent a full hour on there talking about how he talked to his mom and reflected on his whole career and how bad his feelings were hurt. Fam, people may not remember it, but I remember. You can't be out here in the streets talking like you do about these athletes, and when they clap back, you get your feelings hurt. So that's my biggest problem with Skip Bayless over almost anything. And so I don't know if he apologized, but I hope he did, and I hope he regretted what he said about that because it was completely reckless. And if you listen to Ferg's answer and even Razi's answer as well, they gave you examples of how he could have framed it and still made that point without being, as they said, a clown.
And I'm going to leave it at this. You know what? I'm going to stick with my answer, but I'm going to have a little asterisk beside it. We're assuming that he meant well.
Yeah.
You know, like, look, why are we assuming
that's true.
that?
That's true, too.
That's just an assumption. We're hoping that he meant well. Like, but the thing about it is, he comes from an older generation. We're kind of part of that. We're the older part of Gen X, and we're Gen X, millennials, and we're seeing that. I know Razi got offended when I said that.
I know.
But at the end of the day, you look at the fact that we still have to unlearn a lot of stuff that was taught to us, like mental health or depression and stuff being a weakness. He might believe that whatever fiber of his being, especially in the sports world. Our football players, outside of fighters, professional fighters, are modern day gladiators. They're not supposed to show weakness. So for this leader of this football team, America's team, Skip's team, to be showing signs of weakness, he's not supposed to do that. You're a man. You're a football player. Show no weakness. So maybe Skip meant every damn thing he said. Giving him the benefit of doubt, if he didn't mean it, then he could have said it this way. But maybe he did, because think about it. We all know older people who think a certain way. They're good people, but they think a certain way. And even talking to one of the younger bros yesterday on some of the stuff we talked about on the show, he still reminded me that our generation still thinks about things a little differently than they do. So, his views might be outdated, and we're just assuming that he's better.
Yeah, and I think that's because of his body of work. And I'll just say this, not specifically to him, but just anybody in particular. Keep in mind their body of work. Like, if they've had 10 great years of doing great things and say the one bad thing the one time, like, I don't think 10 years should be erased by one comment. Again, I'm not talking about him specifically, but I will say that, Shannon Sharpe has said, like, Skip fought for Shannon. Like, we all love Shannon Sharpe. He fought for him to have that job. Like, he specifically wanted Shannon for that job. He's done similar things for a lot of other minority journalists as well. Doesn't let him off the hook for what he said about Dak. I'm just saying, in his case and in anybody's case, always consider their body of work.
Yeah, good point. It doesn't make him a bad person, but it's we're all human.
Yeah. And
you can put somebody on a pedestal, not saying we're putting Skip on a pedestal, but then you'll find out that little one thing about him is like, oh, he doesn't believe in mental. Like, it could be like he doesn't believe in mental health. He thinks it could be that I'm with Black Lives Matter. I think, players need more, freedoms, all this stuff, yada, yada, yada. But when it comes to mental health, that's a sign of weakness. We didn't have that growing up.
Yeah.
We talk about it as millennials, thinking about how soft some of these younger kids are and stuff like that. That's something we had to realize, that just because we went through it doesn't mean it's right or wrong.
Yeah.
And he might still have those views. He can be right on 90 or have a good idea on 95% of the stuff, but there might be a few things that we were like, oh, I would have never thought you would say that. That could be his true feeling. He really could think that Dak's weak for showing weakness in mental illness. So I can go on about that all day, but
good points.
Let's go ahead and close this day out, man. Who's up? Who wants to close this out? Who wants to take us?
Well, Huli, you the guest, man. So just give us a quick parting shot, bro.
Oh, man. Shout out to Truth to Tell Sports Podcast. Shout out to Hollow Point and my homie White Mike. Appreciate you guys for listening to us. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to, share our stuff. Shout out to Three Brothers No Sense, man. I appreciate you guys, man. You guys are like my big brothers in the podcast field, and I appreciate all the support from y'all too, man. So I'm gonna get my stuff together and saying everything will be good. Everything's gonna be bomb. So I appreciate you guys, man.
Okay, so
appreciate you, man.
So here's the thing. What I'm about to say. You may want to take a step back because you don't want to be a part of this. Because I'm about to. Now I'm not gonna have a Skip Bayless moment, but I'm gonna just say this. Well, first, let me give my shout out real quick. Hooli, thanks for coming on, man. I enjoy Truth Be Told Sports. Make sure you guys subscribe. Like I said, they carried that show when there was no sports at all, and now that we have sports, it's like that much. It's that much more better. So check them out. But I just want to say we just had the 9/11 anniversary, and I contemplated posting something on my page, and I resisted. And I'm still not going to go all the way in on what I wanted to say, but I'm just going to say this. That whole never forget crap that everybody posting, that's fake to me. And I'm going to just call it what it is. It's fake as hell. Like, that day we all so-called came together as a nation and all that good stuff because we got attacked. And, that's exactly what we should have done. Thousands of people lost their lives. But that unity is gone. So when you say never forget, motherfucker, you forgot. Because when football players lock arms on a field, and I've heard people try to make excuses. No, they were just booing the Houston Texans. No. They were booing.
What did they say, Buff?
They were booing unity. That's what they were booing, equality. They were booing justice. Ain't no unity in this country right now. We see it every day from the top in the Oval Office all the way down to you losers that wear that MAGA bullshit. So ain't no unity. So when I see all these never forget posts, I truly roll my eyes. And just to take it away from the race part, I worked at the airport for TSA for over a year and a half. You motherfuckers got there too, because the reason we have TSA is because that security let those hijackers in with the box cutters and stuff, and TSA was created. So you would think, hey, I'm so glad you guys are here to search us and make sure we're all safe on the plane. I screened so many people that just had the biggest attitudes because they were running 2 minutes late for their flight. Nobody gives a okay? Nobody gives a We all forgot. So don't try to act like it's never forget when 9/11 rolls around. Work on being unified. Work on supporting justice, equality, racial equality at that on the 365 daily base level. Don't wait for 9/11 to try to act like we so unified because we ain't. And when I see those posts, I get sick to my stomach because it's bullshit.
Well, I was gonna talk about gray sweatpants season, but now I just feel shallow.
Speak on it, brother.
See, that's why I should have went last. My bad, Rodney. By the way, that's not endorsed by Three Brothers No Sense. That's Byron that said that.
No, I'm right there with you, Brad.
We'll echo that sentiment.
Yeah, we'll echo it so that it is a Three Brothers sentiment. I got nothing else, man. I mean, like I said, gray sweatpants season's coming, fellas. Get your gray sweatpants ready, because they looking. Ladies, let us know. Let us know. Like I'm fine with walking down the street and hearing gray sweatpants.
He is
I'm good
embracing
with that.
his full continence, dog. Like he is all in. He has no shame, man.
My homeboy's a thought.
Hey, I want to feel pretty.
Him and Sherman Cooley have embraced it.
I lost my ego booster. So for the last 6 months, I've been sitting over here like I need that little push right now.
Oh my
God.
That
I'm with it.
Yeah.
Just praying for gray sweatpants season.
Catch Rozzy on his new OnlyFans page with his gray sweatpants on.
Oh Lord.
I'm doing a whole photo shoot.
You got multiple pants, different colors.
different colors, everything. Yeah.
Wow.
Terrible.
Wow.
Long, short, capri. Yeah, all that. Got jogger, got loose pair. Yeah.
Wow. I don't even know how to follow it up. I mean, I just got to leave it where it is. Well, speaking of great sweatpants season, Beautiful Paradox is dropping their first episode this week. So if you guys have not listened by Monday, they will have their first episode would have dropped as of Sunday. So we're recording this show on Saturday, so we'll drop tomorrow. So if you're listening to this show today, go back and check out Beautiful Paradox. Those young ladies, they said they got something special to say, so we're here to hear it. And they have made requests to see Rising in his gray sweatpants as well, I think. So I just can't believe my best friends have thought. But hey, it had to happen one day, I guess. I don't know. I don't even know how to feel about that.
Yo, Huli, he's trying to recruit you too. He sent Pearl. He sent Pearl like a link to the shorts.
Oh man.
Oh man.
We need to chill, man. We don't need another one. We good on the kids for a while.
Yeah. But we yeah. I can't believe that's a thing. The gray sweatpants season is really a thing. And the thing about it is it's not like people just started wearing them. Like, did it become a thing and then people just started noticing more? Or
I think because it was a staple of guys like closets that it just kind of became a thing. Just like when it got cold, we started rocking the sweatpants. Same way, sundresses was, ladies have been wearing sundresses forever, right? And so
sundress season.
When that season comes, you're like, okay, here it comes. Bring them out. Like, so that's the same thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm still surprised. Like, I didn't understand that, like, you were supposed to wear underwear with sundresses. Like, I was like, what?
Say what now?
Exactly. Remember, we had Bird on and she was like, yeah, you're supposed to wear underwear with these. And I was like, no.
Yeah. I don't know about that. We're going to have to agree to. All right, people. Three Brothers, No Sense. We're about to take them out. Appreciate you joining us, Huli. For everybody that hasn't caught on yet, this is my big cousin. He's one of the main reasons I'm the way I am today. Followed around in his shadow. I had to develop a mouthpiece and confidence. Dude. You know how many times we'll go someplace and he got the same line. Has anybody ever told you got pretty eyes? Yes, she's 16. Like, that was my thing. He came to my church, took the women. Came to middle school parties, took the women. High school parties, took the women. He almost transferred to LaFleur just because. Like, he got recruited. Like, the women wanted him to at LaFleur. So, it is what it is.
I don't remember any of that.
Part, no, that part is true.
That's true.
I think more LaFleur girls know you than me.
That's a lie.
Like, real. Thought he went to LaFleur. I'm not even going to go down it. One of our first double dates, how did that end up, Huli? Actually, our first double date, you end up dating a chick. The second double date, you end up dating a chick. Like, bro, you just, I don't know. Huli, everybody, Huli.
I think I probably did have a problem. Probably had a problem.
No, I'm just saying, sir. But no, this dude helped me gain confidence and have to be confident in myself. So I really appreciate you for being you. My big cousin, he took care of me, watched out for me. He was at my house. I was at his house damn near every weekend during some tough times growing up as a kid. When my mom and stepdad were going through divorce, that's where I was at a lot. So appreciate you joining the show.
Thanks for having me. Thank you for having me.
Nah, bro. Thank you for coming. Much love and goodwill to you and Pearl. And can't wait to see what happens with Truth Be Told Sports podcast moving forward. I enjoy it. It keeps me entertained and up to date. So once again, check it out. Truth Be Told Sports podcast. Appreciate you. This is Three Brothers, No Sense. Listen, like, share, subscribe. comment, and most importantly, listen again. And we'll talk to you next week.